Well, as we talk about COVID-19, we now want to bring you to the United States, the state of South Dakota, and what is likely the biggest pandemic-era gathering to date in the U.S. It is the annual Sturgis Motorcycle Rally. It is expected to draw 250,000 people over the next 9 days. Again, this is in South Dakota, and masks are not required. To talk about this, let's bring in the CBC's Stephen D'Souza. So Steve, nice to see you. Talk to us about the Sturgis Rally and the concerns over COVID-19.
You know, this is an annual event actually celebrating its 80th anniversary, and you get, hundreds of thousands of motorcyclists from around the country descending on South Dakota, and that really is where the concern lies, because if you look at South Dakota throughout this pandemic, it actually hasn't been as hard hit as many places in the U.S., and in fact, the region, the county where they're holding the rally, they only have, recently about 80 or so cases per day, only had about 8 or so deaths, and so not a huge number of cases in the actual area. But when you have people coming from all over the country, the concern is that when they're coming towards one area, gathering in large numbers, as you mentioned, perhaps 250,000 people, maybe even more, that this is just a perfect opportunity for the virus to spread. Now, people in the community itself were actually against having the rally, voted about 60% in favor of canceling it, but because of state issues and because of the fact the governor was really behind this, the event went on as planned, and so masks are not mandatory, they are encouraged. The city has canceled some events, scaled back some others, but for the most part, the event is going on as planned, and we see from some of the shots there that a lot of people are gathering in Sturgis this weekend.
Now, you've talked to the operator of a large Sturgis Rally venue. Talk to us about what you heard from him.
Well, he was saying, there's still not as many people expected to come as there have been in previous years, and that they are taking some precautions. The fact that, a lot of the venues are outdoors, and, of course, experts say that being outdoors does make it more difficult for the virus to transmit, and that they are going to put social distancing in place. For example, he runs a major concert venue where Canadian rockers, the Guess Who, are actually headlining tonight, and so they're actually creating the concert venue in a way where people can ride their bikes into the venue itself and stay socially distant. They don't have any closed air restaurant facilities, all the food is takeout. But he also talked about just the nature of people who are attending this, how people who ride motorcycles are traditionally more freedom-loving people, in his words, and that they have a sense that they don't feel that they should be constrained by the rules that so many places have put to stop the spread of the pandemic. Take a listen to what he told me earlier.
They come out here and I walk outside and people will stop me all the time saying, "Oh God, thank you so much for giving us a place to go. It is so great to get away from this town or that town that they live in because of the restrictions on their freedoms that's been imposed by, some local government." And so they come here and we don't have that. I mean, they come here, we've celebrated freedom here forever, and that's really what this place is all about.
Number of people saying that they're not going to wear masks. They are, this is just the way they feel about the pandemic, and so it'll be interesting to see just what happens. Usually we see a spike in cases perhaps in 2 weeks, but as the governor of South Dakota pointed out, and she is a Republican, she said they held an event with the president at Mount Rushmore and they didn't see a spike after that. So definitely a case where people will be watching closely just what happens in Sturgis this weekend.
Okay, Steve, thank you. Our Stephen D'Souza in New York.